Hey, do one of you have time for a quick interview?
Yeah, sure.
Hello, and thank you for taking time away from your busy schedule. I'm Janine Richardson, a reporter from the Diggity News.
I'm Sammy.
So at what level do you play? What's your team and position?
I play professional softball for Illinois on the Rockford Peaches team. My position is third base woman.
Can you tell us about how softball originated?
When all of our men went overseas for the war, including our baseball players, women got a chance to play. In 1943, Philip Wickley found the All-American Girls Softball League, which later became known as the All-American Girls Baseball League in 1945.
What are some difficulties you have to face?
Our main issue is the fact that we have to wear skirts as our uniform. Imagine sliding with these legs fully exposed to the hard ground.
That has got to hurt. Do you have any fans for women's baseball?
Of course, people really enjoy watching the sport, having hundreds of fans.
Thank you, Evelyn, for being here today. Keep up with the good work. Well, I'm Janine Richardson from the Diggity News. Now, let's head back to the studio with Sandra Estrada.
Hello, I'm Sandra Estrada. I'm going to talk to you about how women started to get more involved in American society during World War II. They started to have more responsibilities and more benefits during this time period. That was because now they had to take on the role of being the man of the house. But everything was good and beneficial because problems started to thrive as well. Before World War II, the view that society had about working women was different than what it was during the war. They used to think that older married women were not capable of working efficiently. So during that time, the small amount of women that were working were usually single and young. But overall, women had very low-paying jobs like household servants, and only a small percentage had a professional career. But World War II opened up many new jobs for women, and because of this, things started to change. Due to the fact that men were being drafted, a lot of factory jobs started to open for new workers. Men and women were attracted to these new jobs because they wanted to leave the traditional women's jobs behind and prove that they were just as capable as any man. That's why many of them started to work in manufacturing and defensive industries, also in airplane plants and as steel workers and welders. But even though many women were filling up the spots that the men left open, there were still many more to fill. This made the Office of War Information launch campaigns that will help recruit more women. And these campaigns were aimed for those women that wouldn't think of working in jobs other than domestic work, like married and old women. This made the amount of married and old women working increase by 1/3. It even got to the point that they outnumbered single women working. This new increase of industrial jobs for women provided them with a lot of benefits. They also provided women with a new life and gave them power. Now they didn't have to rely on their husband to support the family, because they also could support them with their increasing wages these new jobs were given to them. Actually, many women were able to pay off many debts that the Great Depression left them with. But the greatest benefit for women was that they could prove that they were capable of doing anything that their job required, and that they didn't have to be condemned to working over a hot stove. But these new jobs didn't only benefit white women, it also benefited African American women. That's because the amount of African American women working in domestic jobs decreased by 59.9% to 44.6%, and the amount of them working in industrial jobs increased from 6.8% to 18%. But like in everything, once things start going good, bad things always have to come and ruin them. Even though things for women in the labor force was becoming better, a lot of problems did start to occur. One of the problems was that now that women went to work, they would have to leave their children alone. Even though daycare was available, they still preferred to leave them with their family members, which made them make complicated arrangements. Also, another problem included that even though women were getting paid more than before, they still didn't get paid as much as men did. The biggest problem occurred when the war did actually end. That's because the men that were returning would want their jobs back, and because now that the war ended, things started to go back to how it was before the war. Eventually, after the war ended, things did go back to normal, but still, some women did continue to work in part-time jobs. But the greatest thing that got accomplished was that women got the chance to find out that they were good enough for many other jobs, not just domestic work. Now let's go with Marlene for the next story.
Yes, we women are powerful. Now time to take a break, but when we come back, we'll talk about one of the most horrific things that has happened in this world history, so stay tuned.
Are you tired of working over a hot stove every day? Yeah, that's what I thought. So leave that cooking behind, because the Office of War are looking for women just like you to come and work for them. Oh yes, you heard me right. So come and show them men that you're just as strong as they are. Come and work them muscles, girls. So hurry and call now at 1-800-456-6745 0090.
Welcome back to the Bomb Diggity News. For our last story today, we left the most terrifying thing. Now we'll head back to Bob Bobness, who will share with us info about the Holocaust.
Greetings, I'm Bob Obness. Well, I'm going to talk to you about how the Holocaust started. The Holocaust started when Hitler took power in 1933. He blamed Jews for the economy doing bad and for Germany becoming a poor country. At first, Hitler's party, called the Nazi Party, decided to close down Jews' businesses. And then he passed a number of laws which won't let Jews marry non-Jews. Then there was the Arenize, which was used to find out where Jews worked and know about the properties they owned. Then Hitler also made all Germans carry identity cards, and if you were a Jew, your identity card had a J. This way, it was a faster way to identify them. He also made all female Jews have their middle name as Sarah, and if they were males, they took the name of Israel. Hitler also built camps for prisoners, but later these camps became concentration camps, which were used to kill Jews. After Hitler took control of Austria and Poland, he arrested Jews that lived there as well. There were a few Jews that were lucky enough to escape, but most of them didn't have such luck. The Jews tried to find any way to get away from Austria, Germany, and Poland, but they never did. Finally, help came when President Roosevelt passed the War Referee Board to try and get people away from the Nazis. President Roosevelt decided to help them because what Germans were doing to the Jews were a crime against humanity. The Nazis have created death camps, which was a faster way to kill people. They made chambers disguised as shower that had poisonous gas. They will kill the weak and children first and get the stronger ones to clean up the dead. But their plan didn't work very well because diseases spread faster due to the fact that all they had to eat was rotten soup and they had no bathrooms. This is how President Roosevelt knew that they need help fast. But no matter how much help Roosevelt gave it still didn't make up for all those people who died during the Holocaust. The irony of the story is that Hitler killed everybody that was just like him. Hitler was not blue-eyed and didn't have blonde hair, but he had dark hair and brown eyes. He also was a disabled person. The Holocaust will never be forgotten because that shows us what atrocious thing humans are capable of. Well, that's the last story for the day. Now let's head back with Sandra and Marlene Winters.
This is all the time we have for today.
But meet us next week where we'll be talking about the Cold War.
And remember,
We are the Bomb Diggity News, the one and only that brings you nothing but the truth. Bye!